to UNC Senator David Nakhid, who's online with us. Pleasant good evening, Senator.
Good evening, Mikee K. How are you doing, big brother?
Good to hear your voice. Always a pleasure to have you on. Saturday is a big day, UNC internal elections. You have been very outspoken and you are completely disappointed, apparently, in some of the moves that have been made by those within the Rising Suns camp. Please share with us, what are we looking at here?
If people would recollect, I didn't pronounce on anything concerning our internal elections. It took a long time because I wanted to be sure that what I said was correct. And I kept hearing that Kamla Prasad Bissessa was trying to avoid internal elections. She would not call internal elections. And, it was said over and over until this lie in and of itself became a big story. So that lie created a framework purportedly for Rushton Parry to launch this attempt to destabilize UNC and take control of the party. Now, we have to stop, trying to, be coy and cunning and all these things, because in the end it's UNC. Rushton Parry wants leadership of the party. He wants to get rid of Kamla Prasad Bissessa. He can talk what he wants about he's going up to that political leader and he will work with that is rubbish. If that was the case, he would have answered many of the calls of Kamla Prasad Bissessa to meet to discuss what was his concern, what was his problem within the UNC, who he had a problem with, whatever. He had no concern, and this is where I began to realize that this was more insidious than I thought. This was not an attempt to help the UNC get into government. This was an attempt to destabilize UNC. And I could see that by the response of the people who came out. I mean, this was a very well-planned plot conspiracy to destabilize UNC and keep the PNM in power. I mean, up to yesterday in the Senate, you had Amy Brown, the foreign affairs minister, defending Rushton Parry. What does that tell you? Amy Brown of the PNM was defending Rushton Parry in the Senate yesterday. And I've seen a lot of evidence that directly shows me that the kind of people coming out in support. I mean, we have a Hindu nationalist down in Central who talk about the worst things, talking about, I mean, the kind of conversation and discourse that shouldn't take place in Trinidad. Trinidad is not a place for Hindu nationalism, or any country is a place for that. And Modi suffered in the election because of his Hindu nationalist point of view. So we especially in a multicultural, multi-religious place like Trinidad, we couldn't have that kind of talk. We saw, I forget the fella name from Central to the Muslim fella, from him talking about when Parry takes the UNC, people come on board, and listen to the people that they're talking about. Mikee K and Vasan Bharat, and all these people, that's funnily enough, Mikee K. In the 4 years that I've been here, working my ass off, in the 9 years that UNC has been in opposition, with Jolene John and Anil Robert, and all these battle-hardened people working on the ground, working their socks off, and every time an election cycle comes up, when there's a grab for power, when people who just want to experience the privileges of power, they show up. Where was Mikee K? Where was Vasan Bharat? All of them taking videos of frivolity, triviality, making no sense to the reality on the ground. People suffering on the ground. Mikee K is not a joke. People suffering on the ground. I fight fighting hard on the East-West corridor to try and uplift the people. And you come in to tell me people who never came on the corridor trying to come and take the UNC. To do what? To lose to the PNM? Ruston Tara and that group there, there's no way they have any national appeal more than Kamala Prasad Bisasa. And I'll say that very openly.
And let me ask you, as you being the shadow minister of youth affairs and youth development, we just had Dave Tanku with us here doing an interview, and I had to ask him about this narrative about Kamala Prasad Bisasa being a hindrance to young people coming up and wanting to play a role in the party. Then what about people like Michelle Benjamin and the very same Anita Haynes and Saddam Hussein and Vandana Mohit and many of the young people who were given the opportunity to be a part of, to serve the people of Trinidad and Tobago? It makes you wonder if you're basically trying to pick sense from nonsense here. A lot that is being said just simply does not add up.
Well, it doesn't make you wonder. It makes you realize how hypocritical these people are. Some of them who were brought into the party by Kamala, given safe seats, for people who do no work. Listen, there's not everybody on that slate from the so-called patriot slate that I dislike. I have friends on that slate, and I will never speak ill of them because they are good friends. But there are people there on that state who I know personally do no work, who I know personally are disliked in their own constituency in safety, who have never once said to themselves, you know what, if we look at the political dynamic, where we are needed, even though we have safety, we are needed on the corridor, because the corridor will decide who goes into government. Mikee K, I never heard from any of these people. I've never seen them come and invite themselves to walk. And I'm talking about, specifically about Paré, Haynes, Rayakbil. That's what I'm talking about. Some of the other people on the state, they're friends of mine, I said, and they've come with me on a walk. But not these three who always pretend that they have this moral, they are the moral bastions, they are the bastions of moral authority, that they will not speak bad about other people. Anita Haynes, I said in a speech, talking bad, they were saying the worst things about the UNC, saying the worst things about Kamala Prasad Bisasa. I saw Paris saying the worst things, and they have people trying to fool people that they're taking the moral high ground. That is rubbish. We are in the Gayelle, we are in the political Gayelle. If you decide to come into that Gayelle, well, yeah, listen, you gotta look to get some blows. And that is just a fact. And I ask the question, Mikee K, show me any evidence of that lie that you all use to create a framework for this attempt to destabilize UNC. That she, Kamala Prasad Bisasa, did not want, stated, articulated, intimated that there will be no elections, internal elections, or they will be postponed. I know that people, when they're talking about Mikee K, they're talking about, I said this about Paré, but Paré lie, you want me to tell you he lie? This is me. When I tell how he lie, everybody in the UNC jump up, yeah, how he lie. Say Paré lying. And I say Paré lying. No, they vex with me. Well, all of them who are hypocrites, I will call them out, Mikee K. I will call them out every time.
And let me ask you finally, what do you believe, what does this internal election on Saturday mean for you, Mr. Nakhid?
Well, it means for me we have to submit this PNM attempt. Listen, the PNM know they have gone. The country is fed up of Rowley, they're fed up of the PNM. They've seen that the economy is stagnant, that nothing works, healthcare doesn't work, education doesn't work, Ministry of Finance doesn't work. They've stolen money, the PNM. They're corrupt, useless, no policies, no programs, 30% under the poverty line, and I could go on and on. So the people, they know, and the PNM knows that the people are fed up. You think the PNM, Mikee K, that they do not do their internal polls? They do. And they know that Kamla Prasad Bisasa will be the socks of Rowley in 2025. And they know the only way that they have a chance of retaining power and retaining government is to make sure that somebody else comes in. And then those people who come in, I will tell you what they will do. If God forbid that they ever come in, they will say, well, you know, we have to rebuild the party to look for 2030. The Trinidad and Tobago can't afford those clowns, those idiots. The TNM and Parry and his group. We can't afford them. TNM has to go in 2025. They have to go. And Kamla Prasad Bisasa is the only one primarily placed to make sure that we go into government in 2025.
Thank you so much, Senator. Best of luck to you and your entire team, and we'll be talking after the 15th. Thank you so much again.